Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is 3.4.
What's going on, world? How are you? Welcome back to channel 3.4. This is another episode of Music Felt by me, and also a commentary Dave Speaks video, I guess. We are reacting again to Lou Asta. Shout out to Lou Asta. Great video essays, partial short documentary channel. Does a lot of hip-hop related stuff. Incredible work. We've done a few videos of his on the channel before. This is the curious case of Tommy Richman. The $1 Million Baby. Can't think of his new song. Can't think of it off the top of my head. But I'd seen that he posted that Tommy Richman had posted this video, and he said, "I hope it's because it's factually accurate." So we'll see what he's got here. Lou Asta does a great job with these, man. I'm a big fan of his channel. He does a great job. Before we get into this, though, we are on the road to 100,000 subscribers. So if you haven't hit the subscribe button yet, please do, because I'm trying to get to 100,000 subscribers by the end of next year. This is a pact I made of myself. It's a goal that I'm really shooting for. I've been on YouTube for a long time, between different channels and different shows and different things. And I just feel like all the work that I put into it, it's time that I really worked at trying to get a plaque. I want something to show for it, I guess. So anyone that's interested in making my goal come true, I need each and every single one of you that's watching this right now. Hit the subscribe button, join the journey, and let's get right into this. Curious Case of Tommy Richman by Lou Asta.
Whenever an artist emerges from nowhere with a major hit, people are always a little suspicious. And when the artist in question currently has more monthly listeners than the Beatles or J. Cole, then that concern over how this has happened and if it's legit only intensifies. Recently, Tommy Richman became just the 6th act in history to debut at number 2 on the charts with their first entry. And considering how inescapable his track $1 Million Baby is, it's really no surprise. But with how much attention he's getting, people want answers as to whether this is a rare example of someone breaking through to the mainstream organically, or if he's just another industry plant off the assembly line who's being spoon-fed to the public.
What was the other? Yeah, Ice Spice and who is that? Damn, who is that? Who does that picture represent?
Or if he's just another industry plant off the assembly line who's being spoon-fed to
Comment down below. Who's that person supposed to be?
the public. My name is Lou Asta, and this is the truth about Tommy Richman. I can't be the only one who was looking at Tommy Richman a little sideways when he first started blowing up. His explosive hit song $1 Million Baby was going crazy on apps like TikTok, and barely 2 weeks after dropping the track, he was already aiming for the #1 spot on Billboard's Hot 100, while edging close to around 40 million streams. And what's strange is that the song was released in one of the worst times for any artist to drop music, since it was debuted at the height of the Kendrick and Drake beef. To give context, this is around the time the entire world was buzzing about Kendrick Lamar's verse on Like That, where the Compton MC would take some pretty bold shots at Drake and J. Cole. For a while, this beef had the entire game in a chokehold, and you couldn't find any music media outlet posting about anything else. But in the midst of the back and forth between Drake and Kendrick, where every track was dominating the charts, somehow Tommy Richman's $1 Million Baby was making enough noise to be charting alongside them.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know if you need a media outlet when TikTok exists. Like, something goes crazy on TikTok, and I heard that TikTok plays count as streams too. I don't know if that's true or not. Again, you can comment down below, let me know. If they do, you just got to be hot there. That's it.
After Kendrick Lamar's Euphoria went stupid, Tommy Richman was literally fighting for the #1 spot on the Billboard Hot 100. And while some were infuriated to hear him, it was undeniable that he made a pretty Hot 100. And while some were infuriated
I'm just glad we're talking about Kendrick Lamar, not Tommy Richman.
To hear him, it was undeniable that he made a pretty
Tommy Richman made a
decent song. However, this didn't stop the internet detectives from doing their research and figuring out if something fishy was going on. And
hold on. Was that Pooh Shiesty in that drawing earlier? I was wondering because you got like the Shiesty mask on. Was that supposed to be Pooh Shiesty? I'm sorry. Name just dawned on me.
And to hear him, it was undeniable that he made a pretty decent song. However, this didn't stop the internet detectives from doing their research and figuring out if something fishy was going on. And it wasn't long before Reddit threads like this started popping up, with users saying,
"Since when did Tommy Richman become a little bit famous? I discovered Tommy Richman very recently. I saw his Spotify profile had 11 million monthly listeners, and I'm like, with that huge amount of people listening to him, why am I only hearing about him now? Industry Plant literally just randomly popped up in everybody's radio shuffles. It's now at 27 million views. How can someone gain this many listeners in weeks?"
Dividing opinion more and more on a daily basis, Tommy's immediate rise to the top of the industry has now found himself in the crosshairs of some of the biggest voices in the genre too. For example, on his Hot 97 show, Funk Flex went off on the track, as well as everyone who helped to get it to the popularity it's now reached.
If you're someone that likes this song, you are a clown. I don't know what the rest of his songs sound like. I don't even know who Tommy Richman is. That sounds like a shoe store. Now we're gonna document this hot garbage. We're gonna play it, Bill. I know you want to hear it. Now you know this is being a kid.
But Flex isn't the only one who feels
Yeah, I mean, the song is catchy. It's easy. It's an earworm. It is.
that there's something more to Tommy's newfound success. As for Joe Budden, the whole campaign, right down to the insistence that it's the song of the summer, felt a little too calculated.
Y'all talking about the Tommy Rich?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm done with this. Please,
I mean,
please.
it is a big record.
Stop it.
It's out there.
Stop it.
Why stop it?
Cause it's marketing going to work again on you niggas.
Yeah, the marketing might have
The
worked.
marketing might, yeah. I mean,
Well,
that is the song on fucking Instagram
TikTok.
Reels and
It's
TikTok.
everywhere.
It is every fucking where.
So I ain't heard that outside nowhere. I've been multiple states since it's been out. I haven't heard it out, but maybe a hotel lobby. That ain't been song of the spring, the song of a month. That song ain't. Since that song came out, everybody been saying, "Oh my God, this is the hottest." Turn it up. We got it, big dog. Let's let it perform. Shut the fuck up and let it perform. Then. Right.
Although it's all new to him, Tommy has been leaning into the controversy for the most part, allegedly responding to Budden with a tweet that simply
Joe Budden's takes lately, I think he's been intentional about not trying to be clippy, soundbitey, and he's just like let things just kind of be his natural feelings. His takes lately have been more rational than not, I would say.
he has been leaning into the controversy for the
Which isn't always true with Joe Budden, or which wasn't historically true.
most part, allegedly responding to Budden with a tweet that simply read, $1 Million Baby wasn't about you. As for Flex, he posted a TMZ article documenting the radio DJ's disdain for him, while at the same time sharing a pre-saved link to his latest single, The Devil Is a Lie.
That's the other
With
song.
industry plant claims now picking up momentum, the familiar question of whether or not he's a culture vulture or genuinely contributing to it have come up as well.
Tommy Richman is clearly placed here to see how far they can go selling black music consumers mockeries of their music. He's really an alternative artist just like others, and they know they can get their break in our space. Y'all will keep getting Post Malone.
Another fun little fact I want to share is that in September of last year, Tommy Richman's team actually reached out to me to do a promo for him on my TikTok. Who is this artist that is opening for Brent Faiyaz on tour? His name is Tommy Richman. At one point in my video, I show how Tommy had about 300,000 monthly listeners on Spotify, and now he currently boasts over 40 million at the time of this recording. So what's the real story behind Tommy Richman's success? Is he really an industry plant the same way that
I was curious about that because I've never gone to Tommy Richman's Spotify page. I don't know how much music he has prior to this. Like has he put out consistent music? Or not even necessarily consistent. Has he put out music regularly over the years and now he just got his breakthrough? Or has he got like 3-4 songs and then out of here?
Ice Spice and Forbats are? Or did he
Okay. Forbats. That makes more sense. Okay.
Success. Is he really an industry plant the same way that Ice Spice and Forbats are? Or did he genuinely earn his placement at the top of the ranks? Well, let's rewind back to February 3rd, 2022, when Tommy shined the spotlight on his come up in an interview with Lyrical Lemonade. It was here where the young artist from Woodbridge, Virginia tried to make it clear that music has been everything for him for as long as he can remember. I was always singing and took voice lessons at a young age, but nobody taught me anything. I just did it. My dad was a drum teacher and my mom was actually legally deaf, so she never played anything. So I kind of just did it myself, felt a connection to it, and went for it.
I kind of froze there for a minute. Interesting answer. So what got you started in music? Were your parents musical at all? Who taught you? I was always singing and I took voice lessons at a young age, but nobody taught me anything. Seems like a strange follow-up to took voice lessons at a young age. My dad, I just did it. My dad was a drum teacher. My mom was actually legally deaf, so she never played anything. So I just kind of did it myself. Felt a connection to it and went for it. I mean, the last part could be true. It just seems like he kind of was like, yeah, I mean, my dad was a drummer, and I took voice lessons, but nobody ever taught me anything, and no one ever showed me anything. I just did it. Seems like a weird answer.
Obsessed with all genres from a young age, Tommy's sound was influenced by soul, R&B, hip-hop, and punk. His first song hit streaming services when he was just 16, and back then, he was rhyming in a much more straightforward way than the approach he takes today.
I got these people in my head, they're always singing songs to me, but don't be too afraid of them, they're not in our reality.
Today, a lot of these early songs still haven't really been discovered, judging from the abnormally low views on his YouTube channel. But for Tommy, that didn't matter. It was all about improving and trying to find his own unique take.
How do you feel like you've grown since when you started making music?
I've just tried to put like the 1,000 hours in, you know? You gotta work like you don't even got time to hear what other people gotta say about what you're doing. I'm just trying to like curate my own sound, honestly. That's the shit that lasts forever. I don't know, if you're doing your own thing, like there's no way it'll ever like fall off because it's like, it's your own sound. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm still like learning.
For a little while, Tommy was learning a whole different approach to performance, studying opera at the Manhattan School of
He's off by a beat. Like the answer was weird. His body language here, like kind of like concludes a sentence like, I don't know, something interesting about him. Like his body language is intriguing to me.
Work like you don't even got time to hear what other people gotta say about what you're doing. I'm just trying to like curate my own sound, honestly. That's the shit that lasts forever. I don't know, if you're doing your own thing, like there's no way it'll ever like fall off because it's like, it's your own sound. Yeah, I don't know.
This is also chopped up pretty good, so like I don't know, maybe organically there's more fluidity with the answers, but I don't know, there's something off about this.
Still like learning.
For a little while, Tommy was learning a whole different approach to performance, studying opera at the Manhattan School of Music, but he felt unfulfilled by it and decided to drop out. This month, before I went back to college, going into my sophomore year, I made a song called Pleasantville, and a lot of people liked it, and I thought it could be something I could do. Then I dropped Melba, which was a breakup song about a girl, but it was really a breakup about leaving college. At that point, I left college for music and started taking it seriously. I had to. When he dropped Pleasantville, Tommy did what a lot of aspiring artists would do. He spammed YouTube comment sections asking people to be brutally honest with the last song he posted. And although he's still repping the DMV area, Tommy realized that there was maybe a ceiling on what he could accomplish there. So, like the vast majority of artists who want to make it to $1 million, he packed up for Cali. There's a lot of passion through the scene back home, and I feel like it's because a lot of people don't get a fair shake. It's really hard to have your voice heard out there. That's probably why a lot of people from Virginia left, like Pharrell and Timbaland. It's kind of a key for an artist to leave their nest. That way you can appreciate where you come from. But when he got there, it wasn't anyone from LA that would necessarily change his life. Instead, it was another artist from the DMV who would give him the opportunity he was waiting on. After Tommy released his 2022 debut album Alligator independently through Boom Records, his talents began to get a little traction. However, it wasn't until he met Darren Zhu, COO of Brent Faiyaz's imprint, ISO Supremacy, that everything changed. Recruited for Brent's larger-than-life project, he featured on the track Upset, and soon, he was standing shoulder to shoulder with Faiyaz.
Working as a collective, like, I made the beat on the plane to the camp. On the plane. I made like 3 beats on the plane. Crazy. on the plane. I made like 3 beats on the
Going
plane.
crazy.
And then I played it to him, and he hopped on it. And I knew Felix for like a while through the local scene, and then he just got off a flight. He just walked in, and then.
You're like, yo, Felix, add something now.
By the time Tommy racked up 296,000 monthly listeners on Spotify, Brent signed him to ISO Supremacy, his joint venture label with Pulse Records. In an interview with Billboard, Faya said that they simply wanted to help artists like Tommy Richman by giving them a place where they can be creative and grow their music worldwide. Their big goal was to do something special and make history. Suddenly, Tommy felt like all the grind had paid off, and reflected back to the days where his mother told him to get a real job, while being very grateful for the opportunity given by Brent and Pulse Records. Given the chance to join Brent,
I don't know. This feels kind of weird. Like, it seems like he's definitely put work in over years and years, and has tried. It's not just like, hey, you really don't have any talent, we're gonna plop you right in here and turn you into the biggest star in the world. But I don't know. I guess I don't know how you define industry plant. Like, is an industry plant basically like a nobody that's just like, where do they come from at all, or is it just a heavily backed by the industry push of turning someone that was a mediocre fringe star, fringe talented person to being the biggest thing in the world? Like, if that's it, then yeah, I guess you can make the point here, maybe.
Brent on the Fuck the World, It's a Wasteland tour, Tommy was entering the next phase of his career. And while success didn't come immediately, the wait would be worth it. Initially teased on TikTok with a bass-heavy, distorted snippet, Tommy's $1 Million Baby immediately had the signs of a hit. The snippet had users commenting things like, "I've been waiting for this song my whole life," and "Release it so I can have my speakers replaced by summer." When talking about the track, Tommy said this about why he thought the song caught on so fast. It was a combination of the sound of the VHS camera, the vibe of the people in the studio, how short the snippet was, and how in your face the audio was. The audio is really loud. I compared the audio to my other TikToks, and the one snippet is in your face. I think that's why it caught on. Eventually dropped on April 26th, $1 Million Baby was a smash from the minute it dropped. But he didn't orchestrate this whole thing by himself. Instead, he had the help of Post music group Sarah Ahmed, a marketing professional who held posts at Atlantic, Empire, and Live Nation, who claimed that she helped build him a rollout plan to build hype for the song. "We didn't have much lead time to create a campaign. There's nothing out there like this. I think people are looking for something new, exciting, and different, and Tommy is it." This great song, coupled with sharp strategy and Tommy's determination, really carried the song through, and we have barely scratched the surface. If you're not familiar with Pulse, they have a deep roster and a massive licensing wing that's undertaken extensive work with huge companies like HBO, Apple, Amazon, UFC, and more. If you go on their website right now, what's interesting is that you won't find any trace of Tommy on the list of their artists yet, enabling them to maintain the illusion that he is quote-unquote self-made. Racking up 38 million official US streams in a week, the whole industry was sitting up and taking notice, including hip-hop music business icons like Jermaine Dupri, who said, "I can't wait to see what these label A&Rs tell me about this Tommy Richman record. He has less than 100k followers on Instagram and has the #3 song on iTunes." Released at the height of the Kendrick and Drake beef, this could have easily meant that the track went under the radar, but some people think it's the song of the summer. So as you can see, Tommy Richman is actually the exact opposite of an industry plant, and his fans are doing anything they can to make the masses know that he actually grinded to get where he's at.
I saw this tweet that said,
I mean, okay.
Tommy Richman.
That's what I was saying. I don't know if I would classify him as an industry plant unless your definition of an industry plant is, and yeah, they worked, but they just got a ton of backing. I don't know, because that would mean that like anyone that got a record deal and got big would be an industry plant. Then so yeah.
Richman industry plant accusations on the way. This comes after Tommy Richman, I believe, made a #1 entry on the US Apple iTunes charts, which is unprecedented for his song $1 Million Baby, because that song came out of nowhere. But when you look closer at tweets like this, you learn that Tommy's been making music for over 8 years, and that he's been signed to Brent Faiyaz for about a year, and that he's actually dropped 36 tracks already before this one. So in fact, I think Tommy is a perfect example of the opposite of an industry plant.
This was made especially clear when a user on X wrote, "I'm putting it to a stop because I've seen Tommy Richman come up in real time. This was him like 2 summers ago, performing in front of like 50 people. He earned this. Industry plant is a phrase often thrown around for people who just aren't tapped in early on. Since the track's continued dominance on TikTok, people are beginning to get a little angered by the presence of the song. And with that, it's really not surprising why the industry plant allegations have flooded in. For some people, this has been crazy to watch. Watching the internet slowly turn against Tommy Richman is so interesting. People were eating $1 Million Baby like a strawberry cheesecake just last week. But it's pretty easy to set the record straight on this one. If an artist has been grinding independently since 2016 and finally got signed in 2023, they aren't an industry plant. They are just someone who worked hard and finally got their opportunity. And regarding the culture vulture allegations, it's important to note that while Tommy himself might not be part of the black culture he draws influence from, many of the people around him are. Y'all should do y'all research on Tommy Richman's team before slandering him, because it's a bunch of successful and talented black men that are behind that man's career, and I'm rooting for every single one of them. Does he have a corporate machine behind him now? Yes, but ultimately, this isn't really a problem. Most of the artists we listen to have backing that isn't even disclosed. The only thing that matters is if the track and his sound is really resonating with people, and for the moment, that's the case. The real dilemma that's facing Tommy is that even if he can silence the accusations, he needs to move quickly if he's going to capitalize off his momentum. And if we're talking about the journey to fame as a rapper on TikTok, I've discussed many of the challenges that path can bring, and you can watch that by clicking the video you see in front of you. Challenges that path.
So this right here is a link. He says by clicking on this video right in front of you, it's the video. Like,
if we're talking about the journey to fame as a rapper on TikTok, I've discussed many of the challenges that path can bring, and you can watch that by clicking the video.
Into it, so it's like you can almost see off to the side there. It's just the thumbnail. It's a picture of his previous videos, but it looks like it's in line, so you can just like click it. That's cool. That's a nice little editing trick there. Luesta on fire. He does a lot of things really well. Great video. Yeah, I don't believe Tommy Richman's an industry plant. I mean, like I say, he may get overly marketed or maybe an industry machine driven problem now to deal with, but and the guy's been making music and he's got 38 songs posted and whatever, 36 songs posted or whatever the number was for over the span of 8 years. I mean, the guy's been working at it. It's, I don't consider that an industry plant. I just consider it a guy that got his break. So Luesta, shout out again. Really, really well done. That's gonna do it for me, everyone. Be safe, be real. Don't forget to pursue your own happiness, and shall I catch y'all on the next one.
Thank you to Patreon and YouTube members: Afrado, Joseph Green, Jeremy Visser, Clay Hopkins,